I want to welcome everybody. If you are tuning in or if you're watching the recording, my name is Ken. Tonight we have a very special guest, Derek Henderson, who on my screen is right here. And then Dr. G is down there, and Brandi Guessfeld rounds out our team that we run together, healthy together, and feeling great. And tonight we are going to be getting a chance to hear from Derek, but you know, all of us have our own stories, but it's the same protocol that has changed our lives. And we want to share that message. And if you know my story just a little bit, I just want to kind of get things started with that. For me, I was diagnosed with diabetes last year. And as I always say, that was a punch in the gut for me. I'm a cancer survivor. Ischemic optic neuropathy has caused part of my vision. I have had high blood pressure, acid reflux, testicular cancer. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. And I didn't want any more shots and any more pills. And I was just trying to diet and work out like crazy, which had worked before to lose the weight, but it didn't actually change my health. Unbeknownst to me, the beautiful Dr. G had found this natural protocol, and she had been diagnosed with diabetes and was using it, and it was changing her life. And I said, what are you doing? I've got to do this. And within 4 months, I dropped 45 pounds. By last month, I was back down to my college waist size. I bought size 30 jeans. It may not be much for some folks, but for me, that was huge. And because I'm not so huge anymore, and reversed diabetes, got off my heart medication, my gut's healing from all of the acid reflux and all the junk food I've been eating. And so here's where I am today, and it's trying to help and save lives. And tonight, we've got a very special guest on here who has been an athlete, pro athlete. And sometimes I think people think that, you know, athletes don't have health problems. And I went to high school with a couple guys that went pro, and a number of other ones that went to college. But Derek, I know you've got an incredible story about your journey to health, and we need to hear that. And so tell us a little bit about what was going on in your life, and how you found this protocol and what it's done for you.
Okay, thanks, Ken. So yes, I'm Derek, and I started this protocol probably about in May of 2024. Prior to that, I was a professional baseball player, played 14 years and in various organizations, got drafted by the Mets in 1989. Played against Michael Jordan in '94. He was a terrible baseball player, by the way. I hope he's not on here. But anyway, but yeah.
I do have North Carolina connections, so I don't know.
No, but it was a wonderful career. I topped out at the AAA level, never made it to the big leagues. That's another story. It was my fault, nobody else's fault. But I learned a lot. And but as a professional athlete, you don't think that, I mean, you think you're invincible. You think you're going to play forever. You think everything. And, you know, little did I know the health problems I had. I never really had weight problems, but the health problems that I had started in my 20s. So I suffered from low T, and I suffered from cholesterol. So as a ball player, obviously people don't know this, but you know, baseball lasts from February basically to February, because after the season's over, we go play winter ball overseas. We don't get a break. And so, you know, you're constantly on the go, constantly on the move, constantly eating the wrong things. Now I know. Like I said, the low T, the cholesterol stuff started because the three things in my diet that I'll share with you that I look back on and I go, holy cow. I loved cran apple juices, which is high in fructose, sugar, corn syrup, awful stuff. I drank that on the regular. I loved ice cream, cookies, and cake. I had to have it at the end of the night. I just did. And then, of course, I was a fried food junkie. And at the time, when you're 20 years old, again, you think you're invincible. You don't think anything's going to go wrong. You think everything's all good. And you play and play and play, and you don't, I was never on medication, you know, so those are very deceiving to me. And so then, anyway, long story short, I retired in '04, moved from Indianapolis to Corpus Christi, met my wife down there in South Texas. That's where South Texas. And once I retired, I got into the pharmaceutical sales world. I sold Nexium, Symbicort, Seroquel, all that good stuff. And I got tired of that. And then I got into the medical device world. And I sold a pain device for it's called spinal cord stimulation. And it's for chronic pain. Now I know, yes, I sold a device, but now I know what causes chronic pain. It's amazing the circle that I've come through. I ended up,
wow, yeah.
What's that, Ken?
Oh, I just said, wow, yeah. I mean, that's an incredible way that's kind of come back around.
Absolutely. And so just having that background as an athlete, as a medical device sales professional, in 2017, I moved from Corpus Christi to Memphis. That's how I ended up here in Memphis, Tennessee. And I ran into one of my doctors that implanted my expensive $50,000 device, named Dr. Eric Aiken. And I had lunch with him, and he said, Derek, what do you know about metabolic syndrome? And I'm like, I have no clue what that is. I'm here to talk to you about implanting my device. So I don't want to hear anything else, So anyway, he sat me down, explained what it was, revealed to me that I was probably insulin resistant because of my cholesterol and my low T. And he goes, Derek, can you please help me sell this? I want you to be a partner. I go, first of all, I'm here for you to implant my device. I'm not selling anything I know nothing about. He goes, that's fair, Derek. Why don't we do this? Give me 90 days. He goes, give me 90 days. And I go, okay, that's fair. He goes, but in 30 days, I want you to take this product, but in 30 days, I want you to go get your blood drawn. And I go, all right. So keep in mind, no major diet changes. I was still working out maybe 3 to 4 times a week, no more, no less. And I could never lose weight. I was weighing about 241 pounds. And at the end of the 30 days, I got my blood drawn. I go in and I was taking the product faithfully. And when I go in to see my HCP, I started panicking because I thought she was going to put me on a lipid. We've been fighting it ever since I moved here from 2017. And I go, oh Lord, I had some fried fish last night and I had a drink. I'm like, she's going to put me on a lipid. So she looks at my lab work. She looks at me. She looks at my lab work, looks at me again, goes, Derek, did you change your diet? And I said, no. And she goes, have you been exercising more? I go, I'm 56. I can't exercise no more than I do. And she goes, she shows it to me. She goes, you have a perfect lipid panel.
Wow.
And I got chills. And I said, it's that crazy powder that Dr. Aiken asked me to take. And so that's where I got all started at. Like now I knew what insulin resistance was. Now I knew kind of as time went on what caused it. Even though I wasn't on medication, I was sick internally. And no matter how long I played sports and kept active in the gym, I had to fix a problem that a lot of people don't know about. And that's why I say that, I didn't start, I was 241 at the time. I'm now 219 and I didn't even try. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. And that was the cool thing because I had to fix insulin resistance first.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
When you fix your gut, everything else just comes along with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, Derek. So, I know within, so many of us, we've got kind of our professional connections. And once you kind of know people, I know as a pastor, I've got my networks and connections and the friends that I have. And, being in fraternities, things like that, we have connections and you stay up with your friends and stuff. And, we get into these years of our lives, we're slowing down and we don't like it, but everybody's like, yeah, we're just getting older. What has it been like as you stay in contact with your fellow ball players? Because I'm sure you've got some that, you guys were in the dugouts together. You guys spent a lot of time. What do you see in their lives at this stage? Are they all kind of where you were, just a year or so ago?
Great question, Ken. So first of all, once I retired from ball in '04, I was like, I need something big. And that's why I got into sales. I ended up finishing my degree because I was drafted as a junior. And in order to get into pharmaceutical sales, you had to have a degree. So when I retired, I went to school during the day, and then did the baseball academy at night. And I got into sales, and all my buddies stayed in baseball in some shape, form, or fashion, whether it was coaching, scouting, or managing, or whatever. And I'm the type of person, Ken, that I lead by example, not by delegation. So I knew once I was done playing, I was done. I didn't want to do anything with baseball. I was done because I didn't want anybody blaming anybody but me when it came to winning or losing. And so that's the type of person I was. So they all stayed there. I moved on into medical device, into the professional world, right? Well, I'm thinking back a year ago when I found out about insulin resistance and hooked up with them. I now have 4 partners that are ex-ball players. I hope they're on, because I told them to get on tonight. But they're partners, they're doing wonderful. Just just by example, they're an athlete, and they're like, "Hey, I'm sick. I'm metabolically sick, but this can help you." But most of them, I find, are kind of, again, as an athlete, you think I'm invincible. They don't want to admit that they are metabolically unhealthy. That's what I found. So that was kind of the long answer to that, but I'm slowly but surely getting them to see, hey, it's okay. We all eat food. Our body produces insulin, and this is why we're sick. It's not your fault.
Right.
So.
Right. Absolutely. Well, ladies, did you guys have any questions that kind of came up? And anybody online, if you've got a question you want to throw out, if you want to write it in the comments, let us know, because it'd be great. I know that Derek would be happy to answer any questions. Ladies, did y'all have any questions you had for him? I got another one I'll throw out if nobody's got anything.
Question, but more of a statement, I guess. I like how you say, or you believe that you think you're invincible when you're a young athlete. I've got 2 boys that are athletes, and a lot of times I think it's their mentality. And I've watched them grow up with a lot of, their ball playing friends. I've got friends that grew up playing ball. And you think you're invincible, but it's also being young. And the older you get, you don't want to admit that you're aging. So you just say you're sick, but turns out you are sick, and people don't realize that. Like they say, what is it? The heart attack that you had at 30 started at 20, or those things, nobody realizes that.
That's right.
And nutrition
plays
a huge part. Yeah.
Great point, Brandi.
One comment I had, Derek, is you had said, a year ago, you didn't even realize what insulin resistance was.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even as a healthcare provider, I knew what insulin was. I knew what diabetes was. But the term insulin resistance, always I equated it with something else than actually what it really was. And so I learned in the last year, and I guess relearned, what that was all about and what it's doing to our body, and it was, even after being in dentistry for 30 years, we are not too old to learn new things, let me tell you. So it's that you said that too, because I think we all have a lot to learn, and I learn some new things every day. So yeah.
Thank you for that. That's right.
Well, I want to throw out one other question that I had, because you do have this interesting connection with being in pharmacy and medical supply sales. What has that been like for you? I mean, just kind of how, you got started on a nutraceutical when you've been around all this pharmacy stuff. How was that for you? What has that been like? I don't know. Are you still in those sales? Are you still kind of working that partly? Or?
Yes. So that is a great question, Ken. You're just picking all the good questions. So anyway, yes. So like I told Dr. Aiken, I didn't want to do this full time because I enjoyed the industry, because when I sold a spinal cord stimulator, I worked for a company called Never. I'll go ahead and say that. It was a wonderful company. Problem is they had some financial issues and I had to leave. Then I skipped to another company and another company. And when I was with Nevro, I noticed that it was based off of evidence-based outcomes. It was amazing. It worked. And we had a specific indication for diabetic neuropathy. Okay. And it worked.
Oh, wow.
So I had a huge presence on LinkedIn, because of the presentations that Dr. Aiken lauded me for, because that's what I would do. I would show back the outcomes of our device on how well it worked for neuropathy, not for diabetes, but for neuropathy that it caused. And as time went on, I'm like, this is more fun doing this than going around, going to doctor's offices every day trying to get them to use my product, you know. And just a quick point about the neuropathy. My wife contracted leukemia in 2022. Yes, she's in remission.
Saw that.
And she's in remission, but she developed chemo-induced neuropathy. And we all know that neuropathy, no matter how you get it, is basically nerve damage. She couldn't put on shoes. She couldn't wear, she lost all of her hair, yada, yada, yada. And she couldn't wear heels. Well, she used me as the guinea pig. She tried this in August of 2024. Long story short, chemo, her neuropathy's down 95%.
Wow.
Okay. And she has all of her hair back. I should call her in here so you can see her live. But she has all of her hair back, and she is a partner, of course, because she's gung-ho and just amazed. And I'm sitting here going, back to your point, Ken, I used to sell a device that worked, but now we can actually attack it naturally without somebody getting cut on.
Yeah.
That's why I do this full time. So yes.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, I know a little bit about both of these lady stories, and the things that your wife went through and have gone through. They kind of echo some of those things and the same things that you and I both have been through. So I wanted to give Brandi and Dr. G a chance to kind of share. Brandi, would you share a little bit about what you heard in what Derek was saying that resonated with you and with your story?
Well, one of the things that he touched on was neuropathy. So in 2019, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I was on an immunosuppressant. I'd go get my IV every so often, my IV therapy. I had a reaction to that. So it induced neuropathy. And I know the pain of it. I never thought it would go away. I couldn't move my hands or my feet. I had to have my mother take care of me. And something that's so natural that can help this is a true blessing. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand. This is a nutraceutical. It is a blessing. It's not only relief neuropathy in so many people, it's reversing these chronic conditions, the type 2 diabetes, the low T, the high cholesterol, the heart disease. It's just a true blessing, you know.
Amen.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. G, what about you? Because I know you've had to deal with fibromyalgia, so that whole issue of neuropathy, you get that from that side of things.
I started the system a year ago next month, and the first thing that I noticed within a week was my inflammation was pretty much gone. And I had fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed 15 years ago with that. At the same time, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And with fibromyalgia, if anyone is familiar with an autoimmune disease, fibromyalgia is one of those, but there's triggers to where you have flares. Yes. Flares can consist of anything really, and the trigger is anything too, and each person is different. Well, when my fibro was flaring, my skin would feel like it would be on fire, and the aches and pains in my joints were just awful. And it got to the point where I could not move. And every morning I would wake up and I was in pain. And this went on for years. Within a week, after the inflammation was gone, I woke up one morning and it had been years, I was no longer in pain. I never knew what that felt like because I was always taking Tylenol or taking ibuprofen. That
I remember
was
that.
Incredible. It's hard to describe when you're in pain. It's hard to describe. And I think I remember telling my husband, I just want to wake up one day and not be in pain.
Yeah.
And while I didn't have neuropathy, and that is painful, I know. So I can understand the pain aspect of all this. That was by far probably the most incredible thing that had happened. And of course, as time went by, many other things happened. I mean, I lost the weight, and Lots of changes in my body. And of course, my metabolism's better now. And as we all know, you just, as your gut health increases and gets healthier, you become more metabolically stable, more metabolically flexible. And you just, you're living a better quality of life. And it's not just about getting old. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, that's right.
When that pain goes away, I know for me, the pain was associated also mentally, because the pain hurt so bad. I'd get so depressed and just couldn't get out of bed. And that's one of the amazing things about this too. The pain goes away, you get more focus, mental clarity, the brain fog goes away, and it's like a light bulb goes off,
Yep.
And I'd like to say
Derek,
something.
did you have some of that too? Yeah,
Real
jump in
quick
there because
about
I'm curious.
What Brandi just said, it's amazing because even before those patients would have our device implanted, they had to go through a psychological eval or the insurance would not
Isn't that
approve.
crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
you're right, Brandi. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Derek, I was going to ask, like I said, again, I know some of my friends that have been the athletes, and I'm sure you probably have had some of this experience too. The amount of pressure that was put on your body. I mean, you said you were a ball player for 14 years, in February to February, and you and I are about the same age, I think. How was that on your joints? I mean, but when you started this protocol to where you are now, did you see a difference there?
You would not believe it. Like, this looks silly, right? When I woke up every morning, they were achy. They used to be, I couldn't do this. Like, I mean, I could do it, but it was achy. And that's why this is acute pain. It's not chronic pain that's debilitating, but pain is pain to a pain patient. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They just don't want to be in pain. Right. And this got on my nerves. Inflammation gone. Unbelievable. So I know this could help people with arthritis.
Absolutely.
And just because it reduces, all because of fiber. It's amazing that, our food's been stripped of that. And this is why we're sick. Like, really? But anyway, my body, like my knee, I've had 3 knee surgeries, no problems. I'm still, I mean, if anybody that's on here that's seen I used to kick a backboard. I can't do that no more, but I can, but I don't, like, I can do squats. I'm like, this is just absolutely amazing. Just how much it gets rid of the inflammation.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Well, and so talking about that, that's a great segue. Dr. G, you're going to tell us a little bit about the inflammation, the metabolic health that this protocol helps with. Would you jump on that?
I certainly can. Actually, what we're talking about is metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is a group of conditions like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body fat, the kind that, expands your waist. In fact, if your waist circumference is, I think it's larger than half your height, that's a condition. That's one of the conditions of metabolic syndrome. And what these conditions all do is they increase your risk for heart disease, diabetes, stroke, things like that. So what the Feel Great system is what we're talking about. What that does is helps to reverse that and help you become metabolically stable. The 2 products that we're talking about are, the first one is Unimate, and the second one is Balance. And I made a list here because I notoriously forget, all the things. There's so many things that these products do, these nutraceuticals. I don't want to forget what they do, and you all jump in if I do, forget one of them. So the first one is this Unimate right here. And what this is a chlorogenic acid that has 375 times the amount of chlorogenic acid in the yerba mate. It's a yerba mate derivative. And so what this does, it supports blood pressure, healthy brain function. It helps balance out your mood and keeps your glucose levels healthy. But the biggest thing is that it helps to stimulate your own GLP-1. And we all know about the agonists out there. They do that. But this is all natural and it doesn't have any side effects. So it also works with your body's own GLP-1. And yes, we make our own GLP-1. Right. And so it stimulates that. And so what does that do? It helps us burn fat for fuel. It helps us it gives us more energy, more mental clarity, more or less brain fog. And also it helps to increase insulin sensitivity. It also is a natural antioxidant, and it helps prevent complications from retinopathy. So those are just some of the things that it does. And the other part of this is the balance. And this is where the fiber that Derek was talking about. So this fiber is this balance is 9 soluble and insoluble blend of fiber. It's a fiber matrix. And one of the biggest things that it does, it prevents your glucose from spiking after you eat. So therefore, it keeps everything doing what it's supposed to do. When your glucose doesn't spike, then your insulin levels don't spike either. It helps you digest your food better. It curbs your appetite between meals so that you're not always hungry or hangry sometimes. It helps your body maintain your cholesterol levels. It's a natural antacid. It has calcium carbonate, which I just found out actually. It also acts as the natural statin. The University of Sydney also did a study to where this is, it keeps your blood sugar levels low, similar to what metformin does. So, but again, natural, no side effects. And what this is doing, it's all reversing. It's helping to reverse all this chronic illness. Whereas metformin and all the other agonists and all the other medication, it's just treating the symptom. It's just treating the symptom of the disease. Did I leave anything out? And if I did, jump in.
No, I think you did a great job on it. And I saw as we were talking that the Brandi was over there drinking. It looked like your Unimate, and we had a great call that we did. Would you tell us a little bit about how you take it? You know what? You know, so somebody that's new to the system, you know, it is not more of the pills for every ill in this toolbox that we've all seen it. So it's so much easier. Brandi, would you share a little bit about?
I wake up in the morning. I do still have a little miniature thing of coffee with some heavy whipping cream, like a splash. And I used to be a 4-cup, 5-cup day. I wake up in the morning and I start with this tea. And probably like by the half a bottle, my brain is functioning. It's ready to go. It's giving me energy. I got the clarity. So much better than coffee. I'm a drinker, not a sipper on my first one. So I drink this pretty fast. And then I'll have my meal, and then I drink the second one a day. That one I'll sip. And most of the days I drink 3 of them. But that's what gives me my energy. That's what gives me my get up and go. It also helps me curb my hunger between that and the balance. It keeps me satiated longer. You know, my brain stops every once in a while. So help me out.
Well, tell us about the bottle, because I think there's something that's really helpful. And so that, you know, sometimes people don't know what to do with that. And you're like, how are we going to take this? And we actually help with that.
This little sachet, you mix it with 16 ounces of water. It comes with this bottle, and it has the 2 lines. So it'll tell you where to add your water. That's for your Unimate. This is the line for your balance. I think it's, what, 4 to 6 ounces? Is it balance?
Something like that.
You can take this with you anywhere. You can throw it in your back pocket, in your purse, wherever. It's so versatile. That's the good thing about it. You can bring it anywhere. Yeah. Keep going. Help me out.
Thank you. And can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, Derek, I was actually going to come back to you on this.
Yeah, so thank you, ladies, for saying all that. Here's a quick story. My parents live with me. My dad's a 20-year type 2 diabetic. Sugar's living above 300. His A1C was 13.5. After me being the guinea pig, when my cholesterol gets fixed, I get my mom to put him on the balance. Anyway, long story short, his A1C is down to 7, and his sugars are leveling out at 153. Okay, he went to his endocrinologist, and the endocrinologist dismissed him. And back to what they were saying about the balance, this product is patented, and it's in a book called the Physician's Desk Reference. Okay, our physicians don't even know it. So when my dad went to his endocrinologist, you know, most doctors nowadays, you're in and out. 5 minutes. Okay, let me up your medication by. They spent, that Dr. Harari, who's here in East Memphis, spent 45 minutes with my dad looking up the ingredients of this product in the PDR. He could not believe it. And so that's a very, very powerful thing, that you have a nutraceutical, not a pharmaceutical, that's in here that can do that. So that's the only thing I wanted to add. This thing has documentation that says, look, this addresses the root cause of why we're sick.
Yes. One of the first things
Absolutely.
my primary asked me, is this sustainable? And I said, yeah, I think so. It's been a year now, and it is the most sustainable lifestyle change that I have ever made in my life. Not a diet. It's not medicine. It's all natural. It's delicious. You can take it anywhere. It's the most sustainable lifestyle ever. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Esmer's talking about, Esmer posted down there. Thank you, Esmer, too. And Rachel, about absolutely keep it in your car. I was talking about it last night. I have my backpack that I take to work with me. I keep a couple in there. I keep a couple in my desk. I keep a couple of each one in my truck. It's so simple to do. And the thing about it is that as I talk to people and the friends of mine and folks that are on the system that I coach, so many times people are like going, well, I'm traveling or I'm going somewhere, so I didn't do the system.
Right.
And the question really is, though, you know what, when you go, you make sure that these are all packed up.
That's right.
There you go.
And you're not going to miss these. Well, this is even easier because it is not synthetic.
Right.
Yeah.
This is natural, what we're talking about.
I came off 11 daily meds. I don't pack pill packs anymore. Like, I'm on 2 meds, and that is it, off 11. And I know other people. There's so many other people that are coming off these medications and just feel amazing. That's the most potent, powerful thing about it. Yes.
Well, hey, this is great tonight. We've got some questions coming in. Artists, yes, we are recording this. This will be probably up on all of our websites. If you're on Facebook, after this is over, it will be recorded. Zoya has a great question, though. What food can you eat? What kind of food can you eat? I'm going to start over with our guest, Derek, tonight. Derek, how's your diet changed during all this? How's it impacted you?
It has changed. I'm not perfect. I still love to eat pasta. I still love to eat bread and rice every now and again. But the cool thing is that because, the processed foods that we eat, we don't realize what's been stripped, which is fiber, right? So if I interject that into my diet, even if I do slip up and eat that stuff, I'm okay. But because I'm a meat eater, I love protein. Protein is one of the things that keep your insulin levels at bay. The other thing is healthy fats. I love avocado. I'm married to a Mexican woman, and I love avocado and guacamole, so I love that. And the other thing, obviously, is what the ladies talked about tonight, is it's fasting. So my whole protocol is wake up in the morning, take a Unimate, fast all the way to about 12, and I'll eat something that's a healthy fat, or protein or a healthy fat, and then I take another Unimate after that to get me to dinner. And then, I'm just going to be real. If I, like tonight, we ate some pasta with shrimp and chicken in it, and the pasta was full of fiber. That's what's changed, Ken. So the old pasta that's been processed has 0 fiber in it. Well, we now buy pasta that has fiber in it because that's my mindset now. So that's basically the things that I've done different.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. G, what about you?
So initially I did not change my diet either, Derek. And I wanted to say that you were talking about how easy this is. I started this protocol. I got it the day before we left for vacation last February. So I thought, exactly like that. I'm bringing water. I bring my electrolytes, and they're in a packet. Well, I'll just bring these. They're a packet too. So what's the difference? And I didn't tell him. I didn't tell my husband. And I just did it. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. It's this stuff. And see if it works. I really like, well, if it's going to work, it's going to work. And if it isn't, well, I'm just going to jump in. And so I did. But as far as, I didn't change my diet. We were on vacation. I did the protocol. I was very consistent with it. And then, as time went on, I started eliminating things. My biggest thing that I eliminated, seed oils, biggest thing. And then it went from there. But no, now I drink my Unimate, I take my balance, food freedom.
Yeah.
I eat.
I want to say, my mother will be 75 this month, and I've had her on the system since March. She doesn't fast, but she has really cut back on her carbs. She used to struggle with chronic bladder and interstitial cystitis. She's not had one infection since last March, since being on this system. Chronic sinus, she's not had one infection since being on this system. So it's really like, it helps everybody of all ages, you know.
We have a question. Artist Walker asks, what about nerve damage? Does this product help with nerve damage? We actually were talking about that. If you all want to just add a little bit, another little comment about it. The short answer is yes.
Yes. And Artist is my cousin.
Oh.
So yeah, she's on the Feel Great system. She's got some other comorbidities, but yes, I told her to stick with it. You know, we didn't know, like I said, I used to sell a device for neuropathy, which is nerve damage. And my wife didn't need a device for her nerve damage. And she's 95%, you know, cured of it. So
that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Well, and I'll just throw in there for me, I found that, you know, the biggest thing for me, I keep my little Skittles. This stuff right here. If there's something I changed, this is it. Yeah. And I educated myself to find out what was here. This was my downfall. And Lauren, Dr. G will tell you, since I worked at the movie theater when I was in college, I was assistant manager. Dr. Pepper and Skittles, whole nother taste experience. Loved it. It was tearing me up. Of all of the processed candies and foods, this ranks as the worst one out there. I gotta say, I'm almost embarrassed to say it. I joke around about it. The rainbow is not your friend. So it's not that. Rainbows and Skittles and unicorn. No, forget it. Don't want none of that. So for me, it really was, if I changed anything big, it was changing sugar. And it's realizing that. And the great thing about, you know, this is that I don't miss it. And once your body gets fat adapted through becoming metabolically healthy and reversing insulin resistance, you get those blood sugars down, because your body makes all of the blood sugar it needs. You know, that idea that we have been told, oh, you got to keep that blood sugar up there. No, you don't. Your body takes care of that. If you are eating healthy, then gluconeogenesis, that's the word. That's one of those big words that we're learning. You know, that your body is going to make all the sugar your body needs. Now, when you're not metabolically healthy, you got to have it because your body's expecting it. It's where you're getting your energy. It's feeding everything. This helps to get off that. So for me, I get up in the morning, I drink I'm like Brandi, I drink one of these right out of the gate. Just for as part of my workout, and then I mix up another one that I sip on throughout the course of the day. Sometimes I might have a third one if I just start to feel like I might need it. For me, lunch is my breakfast. That's when I break my fast. And this idea that breakfast is supposed to be the special meal, that's a marketing thing from Kellogg's. And that's a whole nother story in history. I'm not going to go into that, but that's where it came from. You don't need it. You don't have to have it. And for centuries, we didn't. You got up and you just started the day, and our bodies were naturally burning the fat because you were fasting. And so you break your fast whenever you have your first meal. For me, that's around lunchtime, and then usually again, sometimes I don't eat lunch. Most days I don't. I just go through the whole day, and I'm a one meal a day guy. And I usually will eat, I usually give myself about a 2-hour window at the end of the day when I get home. So usually between around 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, I eat and try to keep all that food there together. And that has worked great for me. You know, I said I've dropped 45 plus pounds. I'm hovering now. We've been at 155 for the last 4 months, I've now kind of creeped down to 152, 153 is where I'm hanging tight. And I feel better than I ever have.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So any other questions that have popped up? I know a lot of folks have been throwing some questions out, and that's been awesome. I appreciate folks doing that. One thing that I always like to say too, if you are on here and you were invited by any of us here, if you've got more questions, all four of us, are on the protocol, we're on the system, and so we are coaches. We have, educated ourselves in how to do this, and so we're here to educate you and to answer questions that you have. So please get with Derek or Brandi, Dr. G, or me if you've got questions about the protocol. If you've got, you need more encouragement. One of the reasons we started the Healthy Together and Feel Great page was, it came out of my thing, and my experience was, when I dieted before, I did it and I hit my goals, but there was nobody doing it with me. It felt alone, and I quit.
Yeah, this is an amazing community of people.
Yeah.
And a wealth of knowledge, wealth of help. It's just, it's awesome.
And you're not alone. And to me, that's who are you encouraging is one of the 4 questions I always ask. I always talk about the 4 E's. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras, your supplements? And then who are you encouraging? Because that 4th piece right there, my little pinky finger there, this is my whole one. The other one's not quite all there anymore. But that is a huge part. It may be small, but that's what keeps you going when you're having the hard days, is having the encouragement. And that's why the page is there. And we'd love to have anybody do it and join us and be a part of that journey as well. We still got a little bit of time here. Were there anything that y'all wanted to touch on that maybe we didn't talk about
Looks
tonight?
like there's a question in the queue.
Something about sauces, I think I read.
Oh, let the Sicilian talk about that. There we go.
I don't see the question.
Zoya asking, what about sauces for pasta? And we got a couple. Well, we got a couple of Louisiana folks down there. Brandi's got that too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
can't get away from that.
But sauces, this is the thing. This doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
There's alternatives for everything, and they taste just as good. Matter of fact, now when I eat any form of sugar, it's often too sweet for me. But as far as sauces, like for spaghetti sauce, I do use that Rayo's. It's sugar-free. I add protein just like I would add in a regular spaghetti or anything else. Same thing with like Alfredo. There's so many different alternatives. You never have to feel like you're missing out on anything. Yeah. That's what I like about this. Now, I'm not a good cook, so if you want to know how to recipe, ask Lauren.
No, there are many alternatives, but I find that, that really, wasn't my problem. My problem was I was a sugarholic. I just migrated to sugar, and I snacked a lot. And so while I was doing all that, I would go and say, okay, well, I have to eat healthy. Let me get the salad. Let me not have this. Let me not have that. But so for me, sauces, they can be adapted to what you need. But, I just find that the biggest thing, eliminate those seed oils. When you're cooking, try to use whole, good, healthy, clean ingredients.
Yeah.
Rayo's
one thing about sauces, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lauren, but
fine.
I used to actually avoid them because I had swelling in the esophagus and I suffered with acid reflux. So I would avoid sauces at all costs. I don't avoid them anymore. The first thing that went away with me was that inflammation and the acid reflux. So I don't have that anymore, and I can eat pretty much any kind of tomato sauce or red sauce or anything like that now, and I don't get bothered. Of course, I do eat sugar-free too, but once that went away, yeah, I have no problems.
So Rachel's asking a question that she gets asked a lot. What happens if you stop after 3 months? And I think what I have learned, and one of the things that I have, since I have started the system, is to get to be friends with a lot of people on Ozempic and Wegovy and all of the semaglutides and learn what their experiences are. And because what they're taking is an agonist, which is a synthetic that is pretending to be GLP-1, they have a real issue with getting off from the medication because, and typically the weight balloons back. Even those, now it's not always the case, if you change your lifestyle and you learn from the lifestyle, then that will reinforce it. Unfortunately with that is your body's not learning how during that process to create the GLP-1 and encourage that. Now, because this is all natural, then you don't have that same kind of, wow, that ballooning of weight. And so there are people that do get on the system and start the protocol, and they'll do it for the 3 months. And typically, folks see different results. And if weight loss is their goal, that's always a secondary thing when we talk about it. It's about what's happening in your whole body healing. That's what this is really about. It's about those blood markers. If you've not dealt with that and you're looking at, I call it the canary in the coal mine, you know, weight is only a sign. It's not the cause. If you're like us and you've looked at the blood work and you've talked to your doctors, they're concerned about all that other stuff. That terrifies them more than anything. So if you, Dr. G, did you have something?
Oh yeah, Rachel had just commented again about having to go back to strict keto. I think I lost her question though. Hold on,
she said I would imagine I'd have to go back to strict keto, no bread. Is that correct?
So actually, I would say that's not correct, because while we know that, you know, bread is a carbohydrate and it's going to turn into sugar and it's going to increase your glucose. The thing with this system is it allows your body to be metabolically stable. It allows your body to know what to do with your food. So one of the big things about what metabolic stability is, your body is burning two sources for fuel, fat and glucose. So the system allows your body to know which one to burn when. So when we're sleeping, we are obviously not starving, and most people sleep 8 hours. We go 8 hours without eating. So we're burning a little bit of fat for fuel, but we're not exerting any energy. So when we get up, we are still, you know, we still have that ghrelin going, our hunger hormone. When you're fasting, you're increasing your body's ability to burn fat for fuel. So it's allowing your body to understand that, hey, they are burning some energy. They're going to need something for fuel. And then what I have now is fat, because they haven't given me anything to eat yet. So real simple. No, you don't have to go back to strict keto. In fact, I did keto. I loved keto. However, I did not find that to be a sustainable lifestyle for me long term. I think, you know, I used to say I'm carnivore during the week and keto on the weekend when I want to increase my carbohydrate intake. But I don't look at it that way much anymore. So what this system does is it allows your body to work more efficiently, to work more effectively, to know when to burn glucose, to know when to burn fat. And that is, I think, the most important thing. I think that's key. I hope.
Hey, Lauren, can you do me a quick favor, please? I think my daughter's on here. She's 16. You don't have to ask. Can you explain why counting calories is different from keeping insulin levels down? A lot of people misunderstand that.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at it from, you know, calories are burned differently, and we have our macros. We have our proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. They're all metabolized differently. When you eat a carbohydrate, it's going to be metabolized into a sugar. That's how your body's going to metabolize it. What happens then, glucose is then in your system. In order to counteract that glucose, your body needs to produce insulin so that it can metabolize that. If it's not going to metabolize it all the way, then it's going to store it as fat. It's going to start storing it in your organs, in your blood, in your brain, in your pancreas, in your liver, in your kidneys, all throughout, in your gums. People don't think about that. In your gums, it's all stored. When you're consuming proteins and fat, there's a slight spike of your glucose, but not the same way, because they're processed differently. So if you were to eat an apple, you have fiber in that apple, as opposed to a glass of apple juice. That is all sugar. And your body's going to see that, and it's going to process it differently and start storing it as fat if you're insulin resistant. And over time, you will become insulin resistant.
Yes.
Whereas with that fiber in that apple, you're going to process it differently. It makes you feel fuller longer. Does that make sense? Is that a good explanation?
Yes, because a lot of people think counting calories is the way, and they don't realize that it's the insulin levels that is actually the way.
Because we've been ingrained for how many years, calories in, calories out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I know many times for me, I counted calories. I worked out. I thought I was eating great. But, you know, there's difference in calories. You know, calories in a donut versus calories from some eggs, that all processes differently too. And yeah, I haven't counted a calorie this entire year. Matter of fact, I don't even know how many calories.
Right.
Yeah.
What I like to do is, the system works best for me is I don't count calories. I try to eat my carbohydrates between 20 and 30 grams a day. And for me, that works because it gives me the energy I need. I'm eating whole foods. I'm eating less processed foods. In fact, I don't even eat any processed foods anymore, because when you start to look at food differently, you start to eat differently, and your body doesn't want that anyway.
I find too that you're fuller longer because you're eating the right foods.
So
and you're pairing the right foods together. So you're fuller.
Today, I'm probably not going to eat dinner. And it's just, I listen to my body now. So it's a very different way and a different lifestyle. And I grew up in New Orleans. We don't eat to live there. We live to eat. And that's how I grew up. And Brandi probably knows that too. I mean, I know you're in bed. So yeah, that's my mentality. I was a chocoholic. I was a sugarholic. Chocolate was my go-to. If I needed something sweet, that was what I went to. I don't have those cravings anymore. If I want chocolate, I do, but I don't eat it like I did before, because I just, what did you say, Brandi? It's awfully too sweet. I mean, most of the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Artists, ingredients listed on the packages. Actually, on the boxes, it does list ingredients in there. So make sure before you empty the boxes, look on there. Ingredients should be on there. If you're still looking for additional ingredients, the website, we can get you the links to that as well to look that up. So yeah, all the ingredients are there. Everything is natural, as you know. We say it's food. I mean, that's ultimately what it is that that we're talking about, and the protocol. It's all food, and that's the most important thing. Well, we are coming really to the end, a little bit longer. We got to 45 minutes, a little bit over that. And Derek, thank you so much for being a part. Somebody mentioned too that a lot of times lives will get deleted. When I do my lives, there is a feature that allows you as the host to never delete. My lives do not get deleted. So this is going to be in perpetuity until Mark Zuckerberg steps in and says it goes away. So it's going to be there on my page, so you can go back and you can fast forward through it, and you can hear Derek's incredible story. And hear from all of us that were on this call tonight. Derek, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to having you back on in a couple weeks on a very special call that's going to be, I think, is going to be incredible. What we're going to be talking about regarding men's health and being on this protocol system. So. So, hey, Brandi, by the way. So good to see some folks that are up here. So a lot of folks on tonight's call. So please, as I said, if you were invited here by any of us, any of us, please, if you got questions about the protocol, let us know. DM us, reach out to us, call us, however you need to do it. Thank you all so much for being on here tonight.
Brandi, Lauren, thank y'all.
Great, Derek. Great.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ken.
You too. All right.
Bye.